3.
Welcome to Arts and Leisure on the HAN Network. This is our weekly program featuring everything that is coming up in the area's music, arts, and entertainment scene. We will interview local artists, authors, musicians, and even some nationally recognized names who may be performing here in our area. We will have movie reviews and film suggestions from the real dad, Mark Schumann, and etiquette tips from Catherine Michaels. This is your all-access pass, and here are your hosts, Arts and Leisure editor Sally Sanders and our entertainment reporter Steve Coulter.
Welcome to Arts and Leisure on the HAN Network. I'm your host, Steve Coulter. I'm joined on the couch as always with Sally Sanders and Mark Schumann. We're going to be talking about Kevin Costner today. He's coming to the Ridgefield Playhouse on the
fun.
22nd with his band, Modern West.
We are so lucky to have the Ridgefield Playhouse for many reasons. I was just there a couple of weeks ago for the Glenn Miller Orchestra.
Oh, that's a good show.
And it was just such a fabulous night, and we're so lucky to have this place, but especially because just think of the
Hollywood
actors
icons
who want to be singers.
This is the first time we've profiled a major actor who's come to the Playhouse.
Yeah, I mean, the Bacon Brothers have been there.
Several times.
Has been there.
That's right. And then Kevin Costner. And I can't
And you got to throw in Modern West. That's his band.
Modern West.
Yeah, you can't forget about the band.
I can't quite picture it. But
I can picture it all right.
I can't wait to see it. I think that it'll be great.
Well, his explanation for having a band was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
He said that, this is just another way for him to connect with people. He sort of feels,
He loves connecting with people.
He does, and he said he realizes that people come to see him out of curiosity if they haven't heard him before.
That's very similar to Jeff Bridges, too.
Yeah, but that he said, I would be a fool to think they're going to stay.
Well, I'd be a fool to think that they're going to buy the record. The thing about Kevin Costner is he's never tried to be anything else but Kevin Costner. We've never seen Kevin Costner, nor will we see Kevin Costner play Shakespeare. I don't think it's going to ever happen.
No, it doesn't seem like his
see
So
him.
the closest he got was Robin Hood, and that didn't work out.
and that was Robin Hood from some place that was hard to imagine because the accent was so ill-defined. And he's never been a great character actor. He is who he is, and when he stays in the lane of who he is, nobody's
So
better.
it's a long shot odds that
better.
he ever has a story where he comes out for an Oscar, and it's the Kevin Costner career arc storyline.
I would never say never.
Never say never. Okay.
He might surprise us because he does have the ability to go beneath a character's surface. It's just that the characters kind of resemble each other.
They do.
They do. I think that when he lets himself go, and he has let himself go a few times where he just trusts the material, maybe trusts the director, and just lets it ride, he can be absolutely wonderful.
He was amazing in that show a couple years ago, Hatfields and McCoys. You won the Emmy.
Fabulous.
Yeah, as
Fabulous.
Devilene's Hatfield.
And he continues to work, and he continues to do good work. It's just that he has mixed the good work with so much that's awful, that the end result is a little bit of a mixed bag. But he's always entertaining. I still like Waterworld.
You're a Waterworld fan!
I love Waterworld because it is the worst
good movie
that you love to hate.
Good
But you love to hate it because it's so ridiculous.
It's out of control.
He seems to be drawn to that kind of sci-fi thing.
Yeah, out of this world sci-fi.
He made some in there that were just painful. He made The Postman, which was painful. He made Wyatt Earp that just made you want to forget the entire period of history. But Waterworld, the thing about Waterworld that was so endearing is that it did have this very serious message. Of course, that was 45 seconds of a 2.5-hour film, but it's still.
And he directed that one, correct?
I think he did everything. I think he did the costumes. He did everything.
He got the money from Dances with the Wolves, and he ran wild with it.
But he does it all with such drive and such authenticity, even when it's terrible.
I think integrity is the word
He does.
that you
He
feel
does.
with him.
You do.
No matter what he does,
Yeah.
that's the person underneath.
And then every once in a while he will come back and he'll do usually a movie that's somehow sports related because he
loves it. Most recently was McFarlane USA. Before that, it was Draft
great.
Day. You have the two baseball movies.
Great. Back when he did that kind of really hokey For Love of Game
Yes,
thing about
where he's the Tigers
where
pitcher.
he's the aging
And he's
baseball
pitching to
player
John C. Reilly.
versus the aging golfer versus the whatever.
tin cup.
And it's like this. You know where this movie's going to go. You watch it for 5 minutes. You know where this movie's going to go. Draft Day. You know.
I
where
love
this
Draft
movie's
Day.
going to go.
Sonny Weaver Jr. might be his best character name.
But you don't care.
So Kevin
you
Costner.
don't care. He's a little bit like, I think the closest he reminds you of a later James Stewart.
Yeah.
And later James Stewart, I think, sometimes would forget what a powerful actor younger James Stewart had been. But Kevin Costner has been later James Stewart forever. And he is just doing his bit. And you know what? The bit works. And let him do his bit.
Career reinvention, Kevin Costner. I can't wait for it to arrive.
But I think that if he were
He's
to...
61, so I don't know if it is going to happen.
Be
or not.
careful.
Did
I
you
think...
see The Criminal, the one that came out in
Yeah,
April?
he was quite good.
And you liked McFarlane USA,
I did.
too.
I liked
I
McFarlane.
love McFarlane USA. But the Criminal was a little bit of a departure.
Yeah, I can see him, and you know, one year we'll be looking at the list of movies at some festival, and there will be a dark Kevin Costner picture.
He
that
did
is
one 2
shot
years
on an
ago,
iPhone
Mr.
in
Brooks.
about 8 days, and he's going to surprise all of us. Because
Did you
I
see
think-
Mr. Brooks or no?
I did. I liked it.
Yeah.
It was okay. I mean, but somebody,
Kevin Costner, maybe.
somebody's going to write him a script that we don't expect. Because if you look at his films, there are moments of such purity and such truth.
It's one of the best moments in movie history at the end of Field of Dreams. Gets me.
All of Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
I know I've told this story before, but I was on an airplane when Field of Dreams was the movie of the month playing the airplane, and I can't watch that movie without crying.
Oh, it's so good.
And I'm sitting there just, crying, and this man next to me says, he's from Australia, and he says, "What is this about this movie? I've been on 5 flights this week. Everyone's watching that movie, and they're all crying." And I said, "Well, it's something very American, and our fathers, and the whole
Yeah.
bit." But Kevin Costner knows that, and as someone who is his age, he captures what it meant to grow up in the 60s, what it meant to mature in the 70s, what it meant to be young, kind of working people in the 80s. I mean, he has ridden that crest.
And Field of Dreams has to be our most talked
Field of
about movie
Dreams
on this show.
has-
That's the Arts
it
and
is.
Leisure Championship belt holder.
That and The Princess Bride.
Well, Bull Durham is up there too.
Yeah,
Oh,
Bull Durham.
absolutely.
But
No,
he
I was
has-
saying in the show, we've mentioned
But
Field
he
of
has
Dreams
so much fun. If you
at
go
least
back
20
to
times.
Bull Durham, and he's so funny. If you go back to the Western Silverado, which was
Oh, I
even
love that,
before, it was one of the very early, and he's just silly, and he's
Yeah.
goofy, and he has a great time. Great time.
Should we do a lightning round of do you like this Kevin Costner
Yeah,
movie?
let's
You want
do
to
it.
play?
I
Let-
do.
Let's do The Untouchables.
Love The Untouchables.
Love The Untouchables.
In fact,
Yeah,
the Untouchables is one of my
I
favorite
agree.
Kevin Costner movies.
So good.
Because he so beautifully underplays Elliot Ness. He's just so.
He's really good as
calm.
Elliot Ness.
He's so calm. He's so good.
How about No Way Out against Gene Hackman?
Wonderful.
He went against 2 heavyweights in those 2
and
movies.
No Way Out is.
Or 3 heavyweights. if Count De Niro.
No Way Out is just wonderful trash. It's just, it is so trashy and
It's so good.
Who's
Who's the actress? Is it Kelly McGillis?
No, it's Sean Young.
Sean Young, you're right, yeah.
And she was smart never to save a place on her mantle for her Oscar. And but I love that movie. So we're 2 for 2. That's great.
Sally?
I agree with both of you on those two.
Both are winners. How about JFK? Oliver Stone's JFK.
I love the film. I love the film. It's one of my favorite films from the way it's directed, from the way that it's edited. I think his New Orleans accent, he's not Meryl Streep, and I think his New Orleans accent is a little rough, but the conviction he brings to the final courtroom scene,
Right, the final
which
scene
never
brings it all
happened,
together. Right.
is really strong.
In all those
So-
movies, too, another movie where he's acting across just great actors. Tommy Lee Jones is
But
in
I
that.
think he's fine in that movie.
Yeah.
It's just that the accent is
Does
a
it
little
in
much,
for you.
and the
Yeah,
domestic scenes
he
aren't very well
always falls
written.
down with accents whenever he's has to do that. But integrity, there you go.
Do you remember a movie called Open Range?
Yes, the Western
with
with
Robert
Ed-
Duvall
yeah.
and Annette Bening. Oh, it's just great. And he and Robert Duvall have that fabulous scene when they're like out there on the horses and they're talking about life. And, oh, it's great.
He actually had Oscar buzz that year, I think, or maybe it was Robert Duvall.
I think more Robert
yeah.
Duvall. I think Kevin's
Kevin-
Oscar moment has passed.
Yeah. Probably. All right, let's continue. The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston. Now that's, you can't go wrong with that movie.
Classic schmaltz. It is
Oh, yeah,
so
but
schmaltzy.
Good song.
Great music.
It's so schmaltzy.
There's the club scene. It's so
Yeah,
good.
it's
All right,
great.
We went over Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Yeah, which is not a bad movie. It's not a bad movie. It actually has some interesting moments, but he's just beyond his reach. And the accent is truly middle awful.
Now, when was that filmed?
It was right
I think
after
it was
Dances with
92,
Wolves.
or
It was
yeah,
done-
91.
done a couple years.
He was really just in a zone, though. He had No Way Out, Field of Dreams, Bull Durham,
And
Dances
then-
with Wolves, JFK,
And then
that, Bodyguard,
Waterworld, and
Wy-
Wyatt Earp, and The Postman. And
Yeah.
it's
So
just
that was where it got clunky.
Oh, it got bad.
13 Days.
I love 13 Days. I think that is, first of all, is a film that,
Eric wants everyone to know the worst Boston accent ever.
but the accents are just not his strength.
It's definitely not his
strength. But he makes Bruce Greenwood's accent sound really good.
That's
because-
true.
But such a good movie about the Cuban Missile Crisis, and he's the noble character in the field of screams of people who are trying to do the wrong things, and he's the one who has all the common sense. He's very good at that. I like that movie. It's a great movie.
I like it as well.
Yeah.
We kind of did the whole smorgasbord of sports movies. Tin Cup, Bull Durham.
Tin Cup's the best. I love Tin Cup.
Right.
And Rene Russo is just the perfect
Yes.
foil.
She was wonderful
And
with
what I love about that movie, and he had another, he's done that movie a few times.
He did it with Draft Day and Jennifer Gardner,
And he did it one other time.
which is totally unbelievable.
He's just loose. He's just hanging loose. And you just have this sense that he's hanging out, and it's a lot of fun. I like
Yeah.
that movie a lot.
He's good at having fun.
He is. You don't go to his movies expecting high drama. You don't go to his
No.
movies expecting necessarily a deep message, but you do expect that I'm going to get to see this person I like, and I'm not going to be disappointed. And that's okay.
And what about the one he did with Ashton Kutcher, where he was rescuing him out at sea?
I didn't like. Well, first of all, I would have just as soon left it. But
How did that one get greenlit? That
I
just
don't
doesn't
know.
sound like a good
No,
idea
I
for a
don't think
movie.
That was good. I'd like to see him direct again to
Yeah.
see what he could do.
And I would really recommend, if people haven't seen it, The Hatfields and McCoys. I think that might have been his best
He was
job
quite
acting.
good.
He was great.
quite good. But I think he still has a few left in him. I think he's going to be one of these who comes back in his 70s or his 80s and has a great supporting role in a
Well, you know what?
film.
He's interesting too because he's got all these other interests besides.
He has his
I mean,
band.
His band, but he's also
got Modern
this
West.
person- He had the patent for some kind of an oil and water separator.
Well, that was the
that he sold to BP
Right.
during the Gulf
Right.
Oil
Right.
problem. And
So you're telling us he's okay financially?
well, what I'm just saying is that he's got a
I'm
mind
not gonna
that's
worry about
working
it.
in a lot of different directions.
Right.
Yeah.
He's a really smart guy, I think.
And he's an environmentalist from
And
everything
he's an
I've read.
environmentalist.
Yeah, and he's coming to Richfield. I mean,
So, and yeah, he's going to
how
be.
cool is
We were
that?
going to mention just a few of the other
Right, yeah, we
actors
have got
and their
it.
bands, which
Right.
are kind of fun. Jeff Bridges, of course, and
Right.
the
Kevin
Abiders.
Bacon, right.
John Corbett, the
John Corbett.
Yep,
band.
yeah.
I thought the actresses were pretty interesting. Malin Akerman and Zooey Deschanel.
Yeah,
They lead their own bands. That's pretty impressive.
Zoe Deschanel's got a beautiful.
Yeah, she's good.
Russell Crowe and his band.
That's
the
not as impressive.
Ordinary Fear of God.
You know,
He did it right after playing Moses.
Yeah, I think for any of us who saw Les Mis, we heard his voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't want to go back there, do we?
Bruce Willis and the Accelerators.
Yeah.
Can't forget about Ryan Gosling, who played alongside Russell Crowe in The Nice
Uh-huh.
Guys earlier this summer. One of the better movies of this summer.
Hugh Laurie has a band called the Copper Bottom Band, and Jeff Daniels, who I love.
Oh, I love.
Do you buy any of these records, Mark, or no? You and any of the actors' CDs, or no?
No,
No.
no. But I don't buy CDs anymore. You know?
Yeah, no one
Are
does.
you a Spotify guy? Or
I'm just an iTunes guy. So
Oh, or Apple.
Well, Kevin Costner is coming to the Playhouse Monday the 22nd for those who want
and
tickets.
if you haven't
Yeah.
seen Field of Dreams in a while,
Yeah.
it's the ideal.
This weekend.
Do yourself a favor and watch
the
a Kevin
ideal family-
Costner movie.
It's just a
Probably
great
Field of Dreams.
father-son, father-daughter
American movie.
Yeah.
It's
Go
great.
for it, yeah.
Yep.
We're going to head to our first commercial break. When we come back, we're going to do a roundup of the end of the summer films as well as a short preview into the early
What we're
couple
excited.
weekends of September.
For more than 50 years, Triple S has been Fairfield County's expert service for carpet, upholstery, and drapery cleaning. We provide the best in repairs and in-depth restoration, understanding fabrics and how to properly clean and restore them. Our staff will come to your home to clean your wall-to-wall carpet to perfection. We can also pick up your fine carpets and bring them to our facilities. With locations in Norwalk, Stamford, and Stratford, Triple S will get the job done fast, big or small. At Triple S, you can count on our people as well as our cleaning. Find us at triplesclean.com or 203-847-8000. Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook. At Cabbage Patch Nursery School in Ridgefield, playtime is learning time. Using out-of-the-box activities and programs in science, dance, Spanish, Taekwondo, and so much more, learning is made fun. Aside from interactive classrooms, our center features a sensory room, computer lab, and a large outdoor space for playtime fun. Our carefully chosen staff believe in a supportive, safe environment and keeping you updated on your little one's experience. Cabbage Patch Ridgefield, helping shape your child's future. 29 Farrar Lane in Ridgefield. Call 203-340-1250 to register today.
I'm Denise DiGregoli, the host of The Drive on the HAN Network. Join me Tuesdays for some motivational, intelligent talk with a little humor as we visit with people who live their lives mindfully. Tune in to The Drive live on Tuesdays, 12:30, here on the HAN Network.
Give your day a jumpstart with the latest news, sports, weather, and more on Coffee Break, live on the HAN Network, weekdays at 11 a.m. Connecticut news doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break.
Welcome back to Arts and Leisure. As we promised, we've retained Mark, and we're going to do our kind of end of summer recap. This is probably mid-July till mid-August, the last month in the movies, and then we're going to look forward a month. But let's hit on some of the smaller movies that you've seen recently.
I think we should just go back and quote Charles Dickens. It's been the best of times and the worst of times.
Yes.
We've had some big movies that have just been really big disappointments. And that happens when they're made by business people who don't have artistic drive. But even when we thought that a return to Bourne would give us a reason for hope in the summer. And
I thought Bourne was
really
decent. I thought it needed a lot more to it. It was way too much
Bourne.
it needed more Ultimatum, or it was too much like Ultimatum.
It just didn't have a reason for
being.
If they didn't have a reason for making it, we really rarely have a reason.
Well, the reason
for
was
seeing
to introduce Alicia Vikander, who we're going to talk about later on in the show,
who I love,
as the new
she's
operative
handler. So the big movies have been somewhat disappointing, although some of the later summer films promised to be fairly good. There's been a lot of good buzz about, of all things, Pete's Dragon, which
I've been saying for weeks now that looks good, and
which
I keep
thank
getting
goodness they
reprimanded about
are
it.
not using the music from the original, so we don't have to wonder who the candle on the water will actually be this time around. But so that could be good. But there have been some little movies that have made going to the movies this summer wonderful, whether you saw them in a theater or whether you saw them on demand.
We spoke
or
last
online.
week about Cafe Society.
Yeah, Cafe Society was lovely. There was a lovely film with Susan Sarandon called The Meddler, and it had done the festival circuit in the spring. And
it was in Tribeca.
And any chance to see Susan Sarandon with a real part is just lovely, because she's such an authentic actress.
She's playing a mother in that one, yes.
She's playing a mother, a well-intentioned mother, who's
a
as the
meddler.
title might suggest, meddles.
Can't help herself.
And she's trying to fill a loneliness in her life, and so she meddles a little bit. It's
a lot.
Quite a bit. There is a film now available on DVD and online that everyone should see called My Name is Doris with Sally Field.
Yes, my aunt loved that movie. She said it was great.
It is wonderful. And if you enjoy Sally Field, and if you've watched her all these years, this is such a treat because this is a real departure.
Really?
She is not the strong woman trying to hold the farm together or trying to hold the family together. She is a weak woman who cannot hold herself together. And it is so entertaining. And
Really?
And I hope that it gets enough attention that we remember it at the end of the year.
While we're on the
talking
theme
about
of actresses, Meryl Streep had a movie that came out last week.
And to watch Meryl Streep in anything, I'm still waiting for Meryl Streep starring in the Yellow Pages, and we'll all go because we know it'll be wonderful. This movie has everything that a Meryl Streep movie should have. It has
Florence
a
Foster
larger-
Jenkins, we should
Florence
say.
Foster Jenkins. It has a larger-than-life character. It gives Meryl the chance to do what she does best, which is to create an eccentric who is three-dimensional, accessible, feels very real. And it's a lot of fun. And it's also a movie made for people who think. It has wit and a plot.
I really wish they didn't
characters.
cast Hugh Grant, though.
I think it's great to see.
I don't like Hugh Grant.
I think it's great to see Hugh Grant.
He's
I'm
matured
waiting.
a little.
I'm waiting to put that one on the on-demand list. I don't think I'm gonna.
Oh,
I don't think I'm gonna go to the theater for
you know,
that one.
But I do have to. I have to admit that there was a movie that I dismissed when we were talking about summer movies,
And what would that be?
and it was Captain Fantastic, and I think I wasn't giving it a chance.
I think you might have thought it was Captain America.
I think I must have. It must have been a senior moment, which happened when you're the same age as Kevin Costner. But Captain Fantastic is this wonderful story about a father who loves his children too much, and dares to smother his children, and dares to make the wrong decisions for his children, but does everything with the right intentions. And so I think
And a
any
lot
of
of
us,
love.
I loved this movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was the best movie I've seen this summer.
I just loved it, and I thought that its portrayal of the realities of parenthood and how you go to bed at night saying, "Well, what did I do today that
I love
they
that-
will remember in 20 years?"
I love
And they
that final
do.
scene
And they
in,
do.
in
And
the
they do.
airport with his son when
Oh.
he says goodbye to him. It's great.
And it just had such a. It didn't try to do the Hollywood thing and have stuff happen that didn't need to happen. Even when there's one moment when you think they're going to put some plot device in there, and it doesn't really materialize.
It's the ultimate, it shows that you don't need a big budget or all these
No.
bells and whistles to
but
make
you-
a good movie.
but
It's
you
a simple
need
movie that's really good.
Dialogue, and you
Yes.
need to have thought about what you're going to do before you do it.
Well, I heard an interview with Viggo Mortensen, and he was talking about shooting this in 30 days with all those children, how difficult
They
it
were
was.
wonderful.
because-
They were all really
but
good.
they're all limited in their time, so they really had to, everything had to work, everything had to be
All right. A
prepared.
lot of them have been on
The
TV, though. The
director
oldest
must
son
be
was
really-
on TV earlier
must
this
be
year.
really fantastic.
He was Captain.
I think, but that's one to search for if you
Definitely.
haven't found.
Yeah.
There's some great documentaries that have come out this summer that I
know
think
you liked Wiener a
will
lot. We
remember
talked about that
at the
one.
end of the year. Wiener is frightening and its absurdity.
Best horror movie of the summer, right?
And when you think that we're living through the most outrageous of political seasons, this is capturing the outrageousness of a past political season when this character emerges who a writer could not have imagined. This is truly
he
a case
invited
of
them
truth
to-
being stranger than
he
fiction.
invited them to film him.
And you sit there and you go,
He has no shame.
why on earth would
None.
I let these people into my life
It's
like
crazy,
this?
it's crazy.
And how he thought this was, I guess, going to do him some good. This is obviously the story of Anthony Weiner, the
Yeah.
politician
Yeah, we should let people know.
who unfortunately knew how to use social media. And
Yeah.
it's just a fascinating film. There's an equally fascinating, very horrific film called 0 Days. And it's about the ultimate sabotage that can occur when countries start hacking computer systems of other countries, and it's really frightening. It's really good.
I was going to say that does sound.
Yeah.
And you-
That sounds like the horror
You
movie of the
reviewed
summer.
last week
5 Days in Maine.
Five Nights
Oh,
in Maine.
Five
Nights
Nights
in
in
Maine.
Maine. So here is this little movie that was probably shot in 2 weeks. I mean, it was just, I'm sure, shot very
with
fast.
two wonderful actors.
Yeah.
Diane Wiest just breaks your heart as a mother who has such pride and such love for her child who has just recently died, but she simply cannot let herself grieve in front of her son-in-law. She simply cannot. She cannot. And so you have these two people who are grieving after this young woman's untimely death, but they cannot let themselves support each other. What's wonderful about the film, and it's very spare, it only runs like 85 or 86 minutes, is for everything it doesn't have. It doesn't have any big dramatic scenes of admission and self-proclamation and revelation. It's simply about two people who cannot have a conversation. Oh, it's wonderful. Wonderful.
Sounds like a good one. And you also, have you seen Little Men, the Greg Kinnear movie, or no?
No, I haven't. I want to. I like him
Yeah.
a lot.
Oh, the two young actors in it
I
look
like
just
him a lot.
fantastic.
There's some really, I think, solid movies coming up. I think that
You saw one recently at Bethel, didn't you?
I love Don't Think Twice. It's a film about a comedy troupe, an improv group where one of the people in the group gets picked for a show like Saturday Night Live and what it does to the dynamics. But
Oh, a
it's
little jealousy.
much more, I mean, it's really the story of the people behind who get left behind. And, you know, in
I don't know if
show
you want to be
business,
on
for
Saturday
every
Night
star,
Live
there are
these
many
days.
people who don't make it.
Yeah.
I think that's another little film that will be worth trying to find. There is Indignation, which is based on a book by Philip Roth. And anytime a Philip Roth book becomes a movie, it's worth paying attention to. There's the Tom Hanks, Sully, the story of the...
Two of my all-time favorites, Clint Eastwood and Tom Hanks.
And Clint Eastwood directing Tom Hanks.
It does look like it could be a really big disappointment. I'm gonna go in head first with it.
It's just that it's like, well, we haven't seen Tom Hanks save the world in a while, so it seems like it's about time.
But it sounds as if that's not really the story in that
Yeah.
film. It's really,
The aftermath of it.
before and after.
Well, it's sort of like Flight, where he has to deal with,
Yeah,
the
but a
guilt
little
of,
bit
Yeah.
different.
well, not with the alcoholism, but
Yeah.
like the guilt of what did I do wrong, what did I do right,
Yeah, the thing about
aftermath,
I
being
will-
interviewed.
Clint Eastwood does not make boring films. He sometimes doesn't make good films,
like Hereafter.
or the Jersey Boys. But I liked Hereafter. But sometimes they don't quite come together, but they're never dull.
Right.
Partly because
We should say J. Edgar's the worst
he
of
is,
all of them.
I like that too. But partly because he's a director who directs very fast,
Yeah.
which is why the famous story.
Shot Mystic River in 40 days.
American Sniper.
Yeah.
The baby was sick, so they used a doll because you weren't going to tell Clint he couldn't shoot the hospital scene today. And so it'll be interesting to see how that approach to filmmaking works with a story that is this visually ambitious. Because obviously, the plane landing on the Hudson will require.
I wonder
some
if they're
visual
using some
scope.
footage from the actual.
Who knows? But I can't wait to see that.
Sally, what's on your list that's coming
Well,
up?
speaking of epics,
Ben-Hur.
Ben-Hur.
Oh, why?
Ben-Hur.
Ben, I want to
why?
call it Ben. Why?
Well, I
There's
hadn't,
no reason.
I
There's
hadn't
no
realized that was
reason.
John Huston's grandson who plays Ben-Hur. That's
But there is no reason. That movie.
If it
has
makes you
been-
feel any better, they're already saying that it's going to lose a ton of money. So.
Well, no, I just think what the money could have been
Right.
used.
Well, actually,
for.
that doesn't make me feel any better. You're
No,
right. Could have gone
but-
to people that are
but
starving
really,
or something.
There is, we've talked a lot on this show about the movies that don't need to be made, but this is one
That's
that the
right up
ultimate
there.
story was put on film in 1959 in a chariot race that used real chariots and real people in the stands. It doesn't need to be made again.
with
And it won the most
CGI.
Oscars of all time, right? 11?
Okay, well, Sausage.
The Sausage
I
Party
can't
came
wait.
out last weekend.
Yeah,
That's a riot.
I haven't seen it.
I
yet,
haven't
but
seen it, but I do.
You
want
can't
to.
go
The
wrong
first
with
I think
Seth
the first
Rogen and Evan
R-rated
Greenberg.
CG animated movie ever, according to these guys.
It
And
will either.
Oh no, South Park was. Oh, okay. I got what you're saying. Yeah,
It's
CGI.
It's either gonna be right on or it's gonna be right off. I mean, there's never an in between with
Well,
that
with
kind
with
of
Jonah
parody.
Hill and Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, you kind
I
of feel
think,
like
really, I think they should release the outtakes.
The trailer is
Yeah.
one of the better trailers I've seen
Yeah,
in a
I
while.
think
That
it'll
made
be a
me
lot of
more
fun. I
excited
think
for
it
it than I
could be a
ever
lot
could
of
have been
fun.
reading
when the
about
potato
it.
gets
Lot of
peeled.
fun. Yeah, it's great.
Just,
Lot of
it's
fun.
just like the visions of how they can visualize things.
Exactly.
And imagine what it's
It's
like
great.
to be.
One on my
a
list is
potato.
Hell or High Water
Jeff Bridges.
with Jeff
yeah.
Bridges and Ben Foster, Chris
Yeah.
Pine.
The trailer looks fabulous.
I think it looks good.
And-
Limited release last weekend,
And-
so it'll be
and
coming
Jeff
out soon.
Bridges is just such an authentic actor who doesn't take himself too seriously, yet always delivers. He doesn't rely on his personality. He's always playing the character, and he always finds the the humility in the character and the truth in the situation. I can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it. I'd watch him in anything.
I would too. And any others that we didn't cover in our...
Well, I think there's the whole slate of movies just announced that will be at the New York Film Festival starting the 30th of September. And there's some... It's an interesting slate this year. As you remember, last year there were a lot of big movies with big stars that played the festival. This year, it almost feels like they're going back to
premiere of Steve Jobs last year.
They're going back to their roots to really find films that together tell a story about what's happening in the world. So they picked up several films from the Cannes Film Festival, and it sounds good. The one that I can't wait to see is a film called 20th Century Women that will have its premiere, and it's with Annette Bening. And
All right. I'm sold.
I'm in the fan club, and one of these years, Annette Bening is
We'll
going to
get
get the part again and win that Oscar. And so maybe this is it.
Can hold out hope.
I hope.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, as always, thank you so much for coming on the couch, talking
Now
Kevin
there's now
Costner,
a reason
summer,
to
fall.
look forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll be back soon enough to talk some more movies. We're going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, we'll have some weekend recommendations for you. We'll be right back after the commercial break.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Warm weather, light breezes, boats are in the water. There's no better place to celebrate summer than the Dock Shop. Whether in Darien at 51 Tokenique Road or Westport at 609 Riverside Avenue, the Dock Shop is where you'll find everything you need to kick off summer. From the latest summer apparel to the newest fishing tackle, the Dock Shop will help you get the most out of your next beach day or harbor cruise. At the Dock Shop, you'll find a wonderful selection of items made in the USA and right here in New England, all with a distinct nautical flair. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the coastal lifestyle, this is a unique place to shop. DockShop.com.
A Better View Window Cleaning Plus has been cleaning glass all over Connecticut for over 20 years. They also specialize in cleaning chandeliers, mirrors, skylights, tiles, and will power wash anything that needs cleaning. They hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and are fully insured and bonded. When you deal with a Better View, you're dealing with the best, not the rest. Call today for a free estimate, 203-284-8836, or visit them online, abetterviewcleaning.com.
You're watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. More than 1.5 million viewers have watched our live sports, news, and entertainment broadcasting since the network launched in August 2015. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Before we let you go for the weekend, Sally's got some weekend recommendations for everybody to enjoy. This is one of the last weekends of summer, so there's a lot of good stuff going on.
School starts before Labor Day, so...
It's our last chance to do this, too, because we're
yeah.
going to go on break for 2 weeks. So.
Yeah. Taming of the Shrew. We
there
talked
you
with
go.
Matt Catalano last week, and that opened on Wednesday, and
Stratford.
it continues through Sunday the 21st.
What a great interview that was.
Yeah.
Look that one up on HAN Network.
But the show is on the grounds of the American Shakespeare Festival Theater, and the play starts at 8. There's music starting at 6.
Jazz, yeah.
Bring a blanket and a picnic. There are food trucks there. Great opportunity to take your kids out to see some Shakespeare. And this is going to be a lot of broad comedy and lots of fun for kids.
Well, Taming of the Shrew is the ultimate Shakespearean comedy because it's
Mark wanted to get on the couch
I wanted to jump in to talk about all the different times we have seen variations of it at the movies. So
seen Al Pacino.
Elizabeth Taylor, Richard Burton.
Richard Burton,
It's
So
a
if
musical.
for more information, freeshakespeare.org or festivalstratford.org.
That's going to be a good one.
Yeah. Another one of my favorite country fairs, the Bridgewater Fair, which is
That's a huge one.
just sort of northwest of Brookfield, Connecticut. It's on Route 133, and that opens Friday night, and it runs through Sunday. Bridgewater was the last dry town in Connecticut until this year.
Wow.
So now you can buy beer at the Bridgewater Fair.
They've all folded under big alcohol.
Okay, and speaking of beer, Milford
That got
Oyster
Eric to laugh.
Festival
I like
You can
it.
wash down your oysters with beer.
There you
They're
go.
having a craft beer tent this year. I don't know what's going on with the beer thing, but the Milford Oyster Festival is on Saturday, August 20th from 10 to 6, and they have Oyster Eve the night before from 6 to 10, where you can hang out.
I was at that last year. It was fun.
Yeah.
They got some
Yeah.
live music.
And information on that is milfordoysterfestival.com.
Yeah, I'd recommend that one. It's good.
Yeah. And there are lots of other things going on. There's an Antiques and Treasures sale at the Killer Tavern Museum in Ridgefield on the weekend, and an art walk in Ridgefield, too. They're going to be having strolling art gallery through Main Street and
Oh,
down.
that sounds
Yeah.
Are they going to close down the main street or no?
No, it's just in the stores.
There you go.
Yeah. So lots to do. Get out this weekend, and we're going to be gone for a couple of weeks. We'll
We'll
see
be back
you in
Thursday,
September.
September 8th with some more movie talk and more arts and leisure on the HAN Network. Until then, have a great weekend and enjoy the rest of your summer.